All right. I spent like 3 weeks trying to pick up 315 on this new Rogue axle bar. And it turns out when I had bent my makeshift axle bar, somehow, I don't really know how, I don't even know if I'm right about what was happening, but I feel like it's the only explanation. The bend in the bar with 3 plates on either side caused the bar to bind and not roll as much. And who would have thought the roll would have made a 100-pound difference? Because I sure as shit picked that bar up with 415. There's no doubt about it. But I can't pick this bar up with 315 because it's rolling out of my hands. That's the only thing I can think of. If anyone knows more about the science of how that would work, go ahead and feel free to let my dumbass know, because I fell for it. I really thought I picked it up. It was pretty disappointing to find out that, 100 pounds back again. Nah, I wasn't happy about that at all. But taking the good from it, which is something I always try to figure out how to do, it's amazing on my stoic journey. I'm trying not to be attached to things, anything. So the idea of how strong I am, try not to be attached to that. My focus is to put all of my willpower, my thought, my effort, my presence into the actual motion, the work, the action, and save nothing left for the outcome. And normally I don't get excited about PRs. I don't get too happy or overjoyed or anything. I get enough little PRs here and there. You get used to it. Doesn't really make that big a deal anymore. But 100-pound PR, yeah, that got me. That tricked me. I should have known. In my subconscious, I knew. I was saying in the first video when I got to 365, I was like, something's wrong here. There's no way I should be jumping up this much. Maybe the air is humid and sticky in East Texas, 90 degrees, humidity, really high. It's like, man, but no, that's not it. I've experimented with that. Any amount of that makes it harder. Definitely 100% does not help. As soon as the sweat hits the hands, it's immediately difficult. So yeah, it was the bend in the bar. And it's amazing. The 100 pounds got me excited. I was super excited after I picked it up and attached to the point that now that finding out I wasn't really picking up that much correctly anyway, disappointed me quite a bit. Maybe more than anything in my life has so far, including many of the women I've been with leaving me. I won't go into that. But yeah, I like this a lot more now in hindsight in my life, where I'm focused on just this, and I miss my opportunity to build a family, so I've committed to the training more than anything else. And I don't hold it against anybody or myself or anything. I feel like it's the point of my life isn't to have a family. I feel like I'm guided into the direction of training to be some sort of action hero style person. I don't know. I feel like there's a point to what I'm doing that's going to reveal itself later on in life. But all I know is I need to keep training. And I don't know why yet. But I know life is right when I'm training, and I feel good, and I don't care that I'm not happily married or have children or things like that. Don't bother me anymore like they used to. So the good I can take from it is I was shown how quickly I can get attached. And by being shown how quickly I can get attached to something still, it's just letting me know I've got more work to do on my letting go. And I'm not putting enough into the work, clearly.
son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Hi. I'm not talking to you. You gonna help me, Huckleberry? You gonna help me, Artie boy? Are you gonna help me, Jennifer? Help me. Come on. Shoot.
So, and going into more deadlift stuff, I've got
Why won't you move?
a weak deadlift in my opinion.
Why like off
425, I hit a PR last Wednesday when I should have been doing my Zercher. Well, I'll have to do that Friday now. But I hit a 425 PR, and I'm not really very proud of it. I feel like I should be hitting a 525 PR, to be honest with you. And I don't think there's anything visually wrong with my form. Feel free to critique and let me know if you think differently, but I feel like my biggest problem is presence in the body. 2 years ago I had weak hamstrings. It turns out I've never been using my hamstrings right. I've never been properly present in my hamstrings, and they were weak. Like I could do 120 pounds plate max, you know, really hard to do it. Now I can get to closer to 180, 170 after 2 years of training them, but I still can't max out the stack like I should be able to, because I can max out a stack for a leg machine for anything else, any other movement, no problem. So I feel like I've had a bad posterior chain mental connection, especially in my hamstrings and a little bit in my glutes, despite them being fairly decent sized. That's mostly from the kicking the heavy bag. I'm going to talk more about that later when I show you my squats. But yeah, so I've been working on strengthening that chain and strengthening my mental presence in the hamstrings, because the deadlift is full body movement. I've said that before, and I just, like, if you ever just stood there and tried to intensely, as hard as you can, flex every muscle at one time, if you do it and you scan with your mind, your body, you're going to keep finding, at least for me, I keep finding little things, least of all the hamstrings, that aren't activating properly, because I'm a gamer first from high school growing up. You know, a Dungeons and Dragons player, lived in my head too much as a kid. I wasn't very athletic, so like anything you see me I'm able to do, I had to work really hard to be able to do it. Nothing at all ever came easy for me. I was never gifted in any way whatsoever. I would say I was the opposite of gifted. I had to work hard to get where normal people were at, and then work harder to get where I'm at today. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I like the mental attitude it gave me. But yeah, that's what I think my deadlift problems are. I just need to lock in on getting all the muscles involved properly and my mental presence there. Alright, as you can see, I tried my very best to pick up the 315. In the 3 weeks I had the new bar, and I couldn't make it happen, unfortunately. 295, easy. 305, I never tried it, but I'm confident I could have picked it up. 315, you know, getting about a quarter of the way up on my best ones. I just couldn't get it up. So now I'm doing what is this, 315 plus 375. I'll show you the 25s actually this time, now that I know that they're hard to see when I put the little 25s on there. But yeah, I go for 7 reps. I couldn't count while I was doing it, and I learned if I have to take too long of a break, just to stop, because I was taking a lot of breaks when I was doing the 19 reps with the 315, and that's why I hurt myself. Like if the break lasts more than like 5 seconds, up to 10, past 10 seconds for sure, I'm probably way too fatigued to just be grinding out deadlifts, especially until I get my posterior chain mental connection going again. But yeah, I was happy with this for what it is. I'm not worried too much about full lockout. When I do the 425, I do a full lockout, but on those 7 reps, 95% there. There's another 405 no hook grip, regular grip. I need to use the hook grip. I keep forgetting about the hook grip. I don't need to go to the stupid alternating grip I hate. I can't even do this way. I have to flip my hands around. I try the wrong way every time first, and then I go to this way. And it's because my left leg is so much more dominant. I have that big old scar in my right leg. Maybe if you saw it when I was doing the squats, the 250 something squats on that one video. The big hole cut in my leg, 2 surgeries, 1 emergency surgery for a spider bite that got way too big. They had to stab me twice with a scalpel and then stick the hemo steps in there and break everything up, and that hurt like a bitch. But then I had to have a big old 2-inch, nearly 2-inch by 2-inch chunk of my leg cut out, and then even another 1/2 inch inside, around under the skin around that hole taken out, and grow it back. So I feel like I've had a little bit of a mind-muscle connection issue going down the right side of my leg. I've been fixing since then. I've had a lot of injuries, and I've overcome a lot of injuries. I've popped my left knee so loud it sounded like a shotgun going off. I've saved myself from being ambushed by someone tried to knock me over, blindside me, and I caught myself with my left foot and hurt my Achilles tendon. Both that knee injury and my Achilles tendon injury took 2 months to heal. I was off that leg for 2 months. I've hurt my back pretty bad and off it for a month. And so many other things that don't hold me back. I don't let them hold me back. I've overcome all of them, and I don't like to use those old injuries as excuses. Just like Spencer does, he's overcome a broken hip, which is even worse than anything I've ever had to overcome. So there's really no excuse. You can get your body back where you want it. I probably won't be doing a lot of security work again because I like maintaining my body and not getting ambushed randomly. Now here we are on the squats. I'm so happy with the depth I'm getting now on these squats. 315 isn't quite to this level yet. 275 made it. When I start doing the 315s, I am close to the parallel, but I had to go from sets of 5 reps down to 2 reps. And when I hit 315 in the morning, I do 2 sets of 2, and then I do another 3 sets of 2 throughout the day, which is why the bar got hot and I had to take the shit off and use it. And then on the last set, I couldn't get down near as far as I wanted, so I just tried to get comfortable with it by playing around with the weight, doing a whole bunch of half squats. And then there's one set where I did 3 because the first one was not good. Yeah, I'm happy with this depth for 275. Once I get that depth on 375, on 315 for 5, I'll go even more depth. I really want to master 315 before going up. I want to be able to do a full depth squat with 315 for 10 before even going up. I really want to master the weight. And this weight in particular, and why I'm squatting so much in particular, is for kicking the bag. So to kick that 150-pound bag in the ceiling like I want to do, that's it's literally essentially a one-legged 150-pound squat to parallel. Because when I make contact with the bag, that is the position my leg is in. It's close to a parallel squat. It's not, when I kick, I do a full squat with that one leg, right? And then I extend it, and it should be touching the bag at about parallel for a squat, right? So halfway. And then I just explode. So it's an explosive one-legged 150-pound squat is essentially what I'm doing. And when I was doing it before last year, it was just tearing my knee up because my body can't handle it. You're going to max out the power you can output with your fists and your feet if you don't train. So that's why I think most martial artists punch like crap, like weak little babies, and kick like weak little babies, especially the kicking. I haven't really looked at people's kicking in a long time, but back in the day when I was scouring, you know, Joe Rogan and Bruce Lee, really the only people that I feel like are on my level. We're all on the same level as far as kicking power. And I think Joe Rogan could be even better if he let go of that spinning kick and just did a regular pendulum side kick or a skip into a pendulum side kick like I do, and get a lot more straight momentum towards the bag. I think he would do a lot better, but he's still got a wonderful kick. And yeah, you really got to explode. So that's why I want to master 315. I want to be able to explode with this 315. I want to go and be able to go into a full deep squat and just explode up and jump into the air with it, right? That's how much I want to master 315. And once I can do that, I'm going to go back to trying to kick that bag into the ceiling again. I'm still kicking the bag, not as full force as I was. I'm going to wait on that for a little bit longer, but you know, just to keep the form up, I'm kicking the bag. So that's why I feel like weightlifting training is important, because you got to really whip your body with some speed. But when you make the contact and then you whip the second time into the bag, all the punching I do, I'll have to go over this in another video, but my very first video where I actually talk about stuff is a punching video. And I talk about how you whip to it with a subtle, no commitment whip. And then when you're close, when you reach and you touch the bag and you know it's there, you push through, you push everything through. There's no anticipation of when you're going to hit the bag. It's just like bogwall. There's no anticipation when you're bogwall walking, when you're going to touch the grounds. You don't have any commitment to the step. You ever taken a step and then, you know, you think there's another stair or there's not a stair and it's just not at the level you thought you assumed it was at, and that was just the weirdest feeling? Bogwall takes all that out of you. It really helps you. You're not going to misstep near as much when you take away your commitment to each step and you let just the feel of it decide. That's how it works. You know, you're reaching out, you're feeling for it, and when you feel it, that's when you explode. That's when you put everything into it. And you cannot hit like I can hit. You cannot kick like I can kick unless you get strong. If you don't have the ability to whip yourself into a strong structure, a stable structure, it isn't going to happen. And we'll talk more about structure later and why I don't rotate my fists like a normal boxer, because that disconnects your, like if you turn your fist completely sideways, like where your forefinger knuckle is on the left side and your pinky is on the right and it's leveled out, instead of with your forefinger knuckle being on top and your pinky on bottom, that's the straight punch. That's you know, and then the boxers, it's completely turned, and I'm right in the middle. I like to be right in the middle, more like a vertical punch, right? But the point of all of it is your lat disconnects when you turn it too much. Your lat disconnects from your shoulder and your structure weakens and you can't get as much power into it. Like if you're going to drill something into the wall, you're not going to hold a drill like a boxer would punch. You'll hold it like a straight punch, right? Because you have much more structure. So that's why essentially I'm squatting so much. I'm trying to build a structure that can push more power through, because I've maxed out what I can output with my current strength levels and conditioning. So that's why watching Dragon Ball showed me that the most important aspect of martial art, and I agree with, is the actual conditioning. There's a lot of people who are super fancy, and I've sparred with a lot of people. The fancier they are, the easier they are to fight. Some of them are not fancy, but brutal like me, and hard to fight.
Mr. Otterboy.
And I can be fancy sometimes, but a lot of times I use my toughness to overcome, because all that technique and stuff is just going to amplify your base strengths. And if your base strength ain't there, what are you even amplifying, right? A lot of strength with a little technique goes a lot farther than a little technique within a lot of technique with no strength. And I train very little things. So I train a lot of hours in a few things that are extremely adaptable. And I'll go over, I think my next video is just going to be my complete martial arts training, like for fighting. There's not a lot to it. It's mostly based off of my raw bare knuckle brawling, just raw brawling. How I started Fight Club style stuff throughout high school, just bare knuckle boxing. I'm unlearning all of my old taekwondo and karate that I was taking before high school. I had to unlearn all that and then learn to just regularly brawl. And then I built all of my system based off of how I naturally moved and brawled, because that's how you should do it. And I used Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do as a template to build my own version of Jeet Kune Do, essentially. And I just think that's the better way. If you're a teacher, if you want to learn how to fight from a real martial artist, and the first thing your teacher, if he doesn't spar with you and see what you're made of first thing, how's he going to teach you anything? He doesn't know what you need to learn, what you need to improve on, or how you move. He's just going to try to turn you into a little cookie cutter version of himself, and you don't want that. You might, if you're smart like me, you could still find those people and take a few things from them for sure. There's even if someone has no fighting skill or training whatsoever, you never know what they're naturally going to try to do, and you might find something you can learn from them. You learn a lot more from losing than you do from winning, for sure. But you can learn anything from anybody. You never know. You never know how big or small someone is, whether they can fight. It's different. All right, I gotta wrap up. This got way too long. Be good, everybody.